Today's podcast is brought to you by StrongHeartAcademy.com, where no heart is no victory. We are also brought to you by BJJ To Go. If you want to build your game and learn Jiu Jitsu, go to bjjtogo.com. Hi, I'm Mike Martin from Strong Heart Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Academy. Today I want to talk about self-defense in Phoenix, or Phoenix self-defense, and is Jiu Jitsu right for self-defense? And the answer is very easy, absolutely. I kind of talked about this with women on a previous podcast. Is Jiu Jitsu good for women for self-defense? Absolutely. But men is no difference, okay? So I could say for myself, when I started Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I weighed about 140 pounds, and I was 6 foot tall. So I'm very thin. I did do jiu-jitsu before, but I wasn't strong enough to overpower bigger people. It's very thin. And right now, I've done 20 years of jiu-jitsu. I've put on 50 pounds of muscle, but over 20 years, and maybe 40 pounds. I might have a little bit of fat on me, but I'm pretty lean for my age. And one of the things that I would say that jiu-jitsu does is it teaches you to use leverage versus strength. And not that strength isn't important, but just physics, mass, okay? If you just add mass, 4 mass versus 3 mass, and they go head to head, okay, 4 mass beats 3 mass, okay? So angles are important, leverage is important, okay? Speed, timing, aggressiveness, those are all important attributes that you're going to learn in jiu-jitsu. Learning to deal with adrenalization when you get really nervous because there's an altercation happening, okay? So many people, even if they're trained something but don't train live sparring like jiu-jitsu does, or at Strong Heart jiu-jitsu does, you'd never get adrenalized, and you never learn how to deal with when it actually happens. So even if you know a correct move to do, you have to learn how to do it live when someone is not letting you do it. And I feel like that is one of the biggest differences between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and so many other martial arts, is the live sparring. Our ability to get after it in a safe way, because we're all going to be able to have the ability to say tap or tap physically, and then having the trust in your partner to let go. Now, in a real altercation, obviously, you don't know if the person's going to let go if you say tap or I give or whatever, okay? Most likely not, okay, until they've calmed down or they feel like you're not going to be a threat anymore. So your ability to preserve under pressure, okay, is important, and your ability to stay calm and make correct decisions, okay? Learning how to frame so that the weight isn't on top of you, okay? And then the last part of all that, I would say, is confidence. So many people lack confidence. And as far as predator-prey, when a predator, even in the wild, is looking for a prey, it looks for something that it perceives as weak, okay? Especially large cats. Large cats don't want to be injured. They generally stalk and surprise attacks something. It's either an injured animal, a young animal, an old animal, okay? So if they think, they're not going to go after the biggest one, they're going to go after the weakest one. So as far as like self-defense, I mean, there's many different self-defense scenarios, but if someone that is a bully, or someone that is just wants to start something, someone that's trying to take advantage of you, rob you, they're going to look for a target that is weaker, because they don't want to get caught, they don't want to get hit, they don't want to get hurt either, and they're not going to look for the toughest, biggest guy, okay? So your ability to be calm and be confident just walking around in regular day life, I definitely believe it gives you a sense of confidence, knowing that you feel that you can take care of yourself. And I feel like that radiates out, almost like a beacon to other people, to know, that's not an easy prey, I'm not going to mess with that one. Even if you're a smaller person, it doesn't matter. I've often said, if you see bouncers and security somewhere and you see a little guy, That's the scariest of all of them. The big guys are almost like window dressing. They might never have had to train to fight because nobody messes with the big guy. They literally don't. You can ask big guys. They don't get in fights because nobody wants to start a fight with them. So, the littler people, they might get in more fights, okay? And if you have a job and you're smallest one, most likely they know that you can handle yourself, okay? The last part of that is if you do get cauliflower ear, that's almost, I always tell people it's like a tree frog, the arrow tree frog. It's the most dangerous poison in the world that Amazonians will dip poison darts in. It's a brightest frog. So all the other animals know, do not mess with this animal. The frog's like this big. It's not the size. It's the bright. They know you mess with this, you will die. Okay. I find that like sometimes a cauliflower ear for people to know is like a sign. Hey, that's not the one. That's not a good idea. I've seen a funny meme once that had a guy in a bar, and it was like Dan Henderson, a famous MMA fighter and wrestler, and he has this ear, and the other guy's just like barking in front of his girl, and it was like, this guy has no idea, that is a symbol of like, don't mess with this person. Now, you might not ever get cauliflower ear doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's not, many people don't get it, but I do understand that it is like almost like a beacon to say like warning, less likely to mess with you. People, I forget I have it. I'll step in an elevator sometimes and go, oh, did you wrestle? Do you fight? I'm like, oh yeah. And then I realize, oh, they're talking about my ear, I have no outward symbol. I'm not talking about it. I've never met this person, but it'll just come up sometimes. And again, people don't want to mess with someone that knows something. And then the power of knowledge is, if I know something and you don't, that's so powerful. Most people that get in fights have never trained to fight. People that train to fight don't fight. And if you're a professional fighter, you surely don't fight because, hey, I get paid to fight. Why would I fight you for free? I'm a prize fighter. I don't mess around. I can get injured with you. I'm a professional. Like, I don't want to get injured for $0. Okay, so real fighters don't fight. They just don't, unless they absolutely lose their mind with CTE or something like that. But jiu-jitsu, you don't get it because there's not hitting. You're not constantly getting punched. But you can learn to defend yourself for punches. Even on the ground, if the guy is standing, you can up kick. We just saw in a UFC fight 2 weeks ago, a lady up kicked into the kidneys, and it was kidney shot. The other one dropped to the ground. You could up kick to the face. If you're in the guard, if you take someone's back, you could elbow in the back. There's no rules in the streets, okay? Striking is easy to add to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Very easy. Once I control a position, you cannot defend yourself against strikes until you say, I give. And then the last part is, you don't have to strike at all. I could take a hold of someone, hold them down until the police come, okay? They will not move. They're not going to hit me. They're not going to grab a weapon because I have control of their arms, okay? So do I think it is a great self-defense? Absolutely. If you're looking to get into self-defense and you want to learn, okay, we have a great program at Strongheart. StrongheartAcademy.com. Click on the trial button. Try a class out. You have nothing to lose. It costs $0. The price of admission is courage. Get in your car and to drive down. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is to get here. And even people that train, when you're tired, I had a long day. The hardest part is getting in the car and getting there, not the workout. The hardest part is getting there. So I encourage you, if this is something you're looking to do, you feel like, man, I feel like I need to know a little bit something more, something to boost your confidence. Even I think people are professionals, working professionals, training jiu-jitsu feels like you have an extra confidence level. If I have to give a sales presentation, so much of it is your confidence and your persona. But if you have this thing that's like, one part of my life is kind of taken care of. So many parts of our lives are constantly in flux. But you're like, man, this part of my life, I'm confident I can defend myself and my family and my friends. That's powerful, really powerful stuff. Every UFC fighter, every MMA fighter knows at least some jiu-jitsu. If they don't, they go to the ground, they will lose, okay? The last part of this, I would say, is most fights go to the ground. Somebody sucker punches them, they're on the ground. Somebody tackles someone, they're on the ground. You trip over something in the street, you're on the ground. So your ability to even learn how to fall correctly, say drop balls so you don't hurt yourself on the way down, and your ability to stand back up is part of jiu-jitsu, okay? So I appreciate your time, and if you want to try out and you're in the Phoenix area and you want to learn Phoenix self-defense, go to strongheartacademy.com, hit the trial button, and try out a class for you. See if we're right for you. Have a great day.
Let me talk for just a second, help me feel that sense of rhythm. Find the meanings in our bearings and discover this position as a stage along the way. Another rung to the ladder, either stalling or you're climbing, and I'd rather beat the ladder. Instead of getting fatter, let the footsteps resume naturally.